Good morning, everyone. How's it going so far? I feel like you all decided to rise and shine this morning. I can not only feel it, I can smell it. It was great, right? And I mean, come on, what was this? Isn't that amazing? How do you follow that? I think I'm done. Well, have a good night. No, it's great to be here with you all. It's been a great day and almost half, right? We're still almost halfway through today. And I wanted to talk to you a little bit about compliance, because this is what you're really all here for. When you registered, you're like, I really hope we get to go talk about some compliance. No, hopefully we'll make it fun for you today. So yesterday, David spoke on and kind of took us with him on the journey of LIFEWAVE, right? From the early beginnings and the growth and the progress up to now. And he showed us this morning how we are literally flying into the future, right? And so along those same lines, I don't have a drone, sorry. Full, disclaimer, I don't have my own drone. We'll be doing a similar thing here with compliance. I wanted to walk you through the past, the present, and the future of compliance here at LIFEWAVE. So we're going to walk through, and how many people have seen the hallway out here with that big visual board? Isn't that awesome? Isn't that fantastic to see? I love that kind of thing. I'm a visual learner myself, and I love to see that kind of thing because it really helps you see perspective. When you can see where you've been, you have an idea where you are, that really helps you gauge where you're going to go. And so far, with what you've heard yesterday and so far today, who thinks we're going somewhere? We are definitely going somewhere. So let's look at the past. With LIFEWAVE, 2004, end of 2004, we got started with David in an energy enhancer. And from there, it kind of took off. We had more and more products added over time. So from 2005-ish, 2019-ish, we had really steady growth. Thanks to all of you. Give yourselves a hand. All those who have helped with the growth there. That's all you. But even with that success that we saw there, LIFEWAVE remained relatively unknown to the world. The technology wasn't quite seen by the world as we were growing there. And then in 2018, David decided to change things. One day he just decides, I'm just gonna go throw a curveball into the health and wellness field and introduce a technology that the world has never seen before. And that was the launch of X39. And with the launch of X39, everything changed, right? Right? Up to that point, we stayed under that regulatory radar, and everyone has their happy place. You all have a happy place? My happy place is under that radar. But thanks to all of you and X39, we're no longer in my happy place. But that's actually a great thing. That means we're being seen, we're being noticed. You're making some noise, you're making waves, and it's fantastic. With all that growth, with all that noise, with all the waves that you're making, you get noticed, and it's mostly good. It's mostly wonderful. But there's some not so good things that come with being known, right? And a lot of that, as we all know, we've probably all seen in our businesses, that success, notoriety, making waves in the world tends to attract attention. And usually it's great attention, but then we've got regulators. We've got the skeptics. We've got just the plain old haters. They don't understand things, and it's pretty normal. It's pretty normal for people to not be sure about something that's new, be afraid of or not understand something that is different. I, for one, do not understand the technology behind everything that David does. I don't think very many of us do, and that scares people sometimes. And so that kind of comes with some of that negative stuff when we grow and they start to see this, and they're not sure what to do with it sometimes. But with all the growth that we were experiencing, LIFEWAVE set out to really develop a compliance department to help with that growth, to help make it stable, to help keep it going, to help protect the company, to help protect your businesses. And so that's where we started to move into, the 2020 area. And the purpose of the compliance department, despite what you might think, is not to shut you down. The purpose of the compliance department is to support and ensure your businesses have longevity. Without you, there's no LIFEWAVE. But without LIFEWAVE, there's no you. You see how that works? And so we're here to protect what you're all building. And this is, as Lori just spoke about, this is a co-partnership, right? You give, so we give, and we work together for that future that we're moving for. So we're not here to stop you. Now, yesterday, Jeff Hildebrandt, who loves Jeff? He's a great guy, right? He brought up Top Gun, iconic movie, right? Tom Cruise, yeah? And I know what you're thinking. I say Tom Cruise, and you're like, wow. The resemblance is uncanny, right? Amazing. I get it all the time. I'm just kidding. I don't ever get that. But in the recent past, in 2020, as we started to build out the compliance department, we continue to grow. The business continues to grow. LIFEWAVE continues to grow. And it starts stepping into the light. The world starts to see us. And again, that's up to you. Give yourselves a hand. You are the reason the world is seeing this technology. And that growth continued despite a pandemic globally. Isn't that amazing? Can you take a second to think about that? There are businesses in our industry that are really struggling right now. And as you saw with Emily, we're just going and going and going and going. It's like the Energizer Bunny, but with the battery that David, kind of invented or something, right? It's got the energy enhancer patch on it. So we're stepping into light. We're being seen more and more. And again, you kind of get that, some of that negative attention. And as Jeff pointed out yesterday, he talked, the whole Top Gun thing. What I love about that is there's some of those quotes. There's a bogey on your 6. And maybe one of my favorites, you can be my wingman anytime, right? And the way I like to picture compliance in our relationship with our field, with you, is that we are your wingman. Your focus is on taking this technology to the world. Your focus is on building a team. Your focus is pushing forward and building a business. And that's what it should be. And that's what we need. You are the engine that is driving LIFEWAVE into the future. But there's bogeys in the back, right? And they're not always friendly to us. And that's where we come in. Our job is to be your wingman. We're back there watching your back. We've got your 6. We have to watch out and navigate regulatory issues, right? Making sure that we're all doing the business right, making sure we are aware, and globally, things are constantly changing. And so it's a big job, but we are here trying to support you. Now, through the last couple of years, we've been growing and developing this out, and you've probably noticed a few changes. Part of that is we've updated and overhauled the policies and procedures. They went from something like 15 pages to 40 pages. You're welcome, right? And we understand that's a lot, but we're trying to update for what is required, what we need to do to keep moving towards the future. We've developed and implemented a lot of global compliance processes, protocols, and added technology to help us as we act as your wingman to monitor things within the regulatory realm and just the business realm in general. We've initiated some emerging tools that we're trying to bring out to you by updating and creating online forms and kind of try to move to the future of digitizing, modernizing the processes that you've seen before. And of course, compliance personnel. For quite a while, before 2020, we didn't have a lot of compliance personnel, and then we started bringing on more and more, and we are slowly growing. We're in multiple countries now, compliance personnel, and we're moving forward with that. So what's the path forward for compliance? What is it we're doing? Where are we going? We've seen our history. We know where we're at now. Where are we going into the future? Well, as we look at the future, there's a few things we need to consider, a few things we need to keep in mind, and that's recognizing the amazing growth. As Lori mentioned just now, 1 billion homes. Who can say 1 billion homes? 1 billion homes, right? I just want to just stop and think of that for a second. LIFEWAVE technology in 1 billion homes around the world. And not all those homes are single people, right? How many lives would that touch? 1 billion homes, how many lives does that touch? Phenomenal amount. That's where we're moving towards. That's what you're doing. And that is awesome. And we're keeping that in mind. We're keeping in mind that you are moving this forward, and we are pushing to the 1 billion home mark. We understand that our success comes with those threats, right? The bigger you get, the more people want at you. And we have to take that into mind. We also recognize that the use of proper, stable business practices is how we negate those threats. That's the best way to fight threats, is to be as stable and on point as possible. And we're evolving, adapting. We understand there's changes in business technologies. The business 10 years ago is not the same as it was 5 years ago, and it wasn't not the same as it is 2 years ago as it is now. And it won't be quite the same in the future. And we understand that. We understand there's an evolution continually happening. The same goes for regulations. Governing bodies that govern us, that govern our business, are constantly changing. And not just in one area, around the world. And we're a global company. And that's a lot of change that we have to keep up with. So, how do we move forward with that? What's the next step? Member success. How does that term make you feel? Kind of warm and fuzzy inside, right? Member success has a lot of meaning because it means that you are succeeding in what you came to do. And that is the goal. If you go back to the purpose of why compliance was kind of brought forth by LIFEWAVE, the purpose is to ensure that your business can be successful and have longevity, and it can be there into the future. So that carries with it a lot of weight. And that's not just a name. In fact, that's the new name of the compliance department moving forward. Now, why are we making this change? It's a statement. It's a promise, really. It's a way for us to show that we aren't the bogeys coming after you, right? We're the wingmen coming to help you. Our goal is to keep you out of those no-fly zones. And sometimes you might be so focused on that target, you're going right into that danger zone. And we might have to reel you back just a little to keep you flying far. Just like the drone, 90 hours or more, right? It's a better way for us to say, we are here to help you. Now, I'm just guessing, I could be wrong, but if you get an email from compliance versus an email from member success, which one are you going to go for? Which one makes you a little more excited or seems easier to get, right? Dark and dreary compliance. Member success, right? So that's what our focus is. We're rebranding ourselves to really show what our purpose is and how we can relate with you. But wait, there's more. In addition to that, we're adding more to the policies, and I know that sounds really bad. But what we're adding is more clarity. More clarity. It's a lot of legal mumble jumble, right? It's really hard to understand. You feel like you're reading a foreign language or something. So we're updating, we're adding language that's easier to understand, more examples, more definitions, so you can understand what it is we're talking to you about. If we ever do contact you, be like, hey, here's an issue, here's how we're going to fix it. We're also updating it to better align. Like I said, there's ever-changing regulations and things, and so we'll always be updating to that extent. And we'll be better aligning with current business technologies. That includes technologies that are emerging now that haven't been used or allowed in the past. And we recognize that there are some great technologies out there that can really help you thrive in your business. We understand that, we acknowledge it, and our policies don't quite allow for it as they currently stand, but they will allow for a lot more as we move into the future. We're continually developing and implementing those global processes around the world. We're making digital improvements again, like I mentioned, online forms, all kinds of things, to make your experience better. I mean, Lori just came out and showed you all kinds of great stuff, right? We're trying to keep up with her. She's hard to keep up with, but we're there on her coattails running behind her. Again, additional tools and member resources. The forums and communications won't just be, local US or whatever. We're a global company, so we're putting it out there globally. We want languages, we want market-specific resources. We want everyone in every country that we're in to have the tools and the resources they need to be the most successful they can in the best way they can. Yeah, go ahead. Makes me feel better when you clap. We're also increasing our member personnel, our member success personnel globally. This helps us be able to give market-specific compliance resource and personnel to work with people because there's different cultures, different rules, regulations, and it's really hard to have it centralized in one location. So we are expanding globally to have those resources who understand what's going on in that market and can better assist everyone in that market with the compliance, so being your wingman, so to speak. And then communications. Who remembers, was it cleanup on aisle 39? Right, that's my dad joke of a name, really. More of that kind of thing, where we want to do more campaigns, communications, educational-focused campaigns to help you understand what it is, the do's and don'ts, all that kind of stuff. Lori mentioned, patching, the patching stuff and all that stuff. We're coming out with our own things, which will include best practices. Things that you can better see and know what are the best practices, what are the do's and don'ts. It makes it easier for you to understand, and therefore makes it easier for you to train and help your teams understand, and so on. We want to create the resources that are duplicatable within your teams to help protect the company as we go into the future. So that's what we're doing. What about you? What can you do to help us help you? Well, for starters, let's stay out of the no-fly zones. Right? Let's try to keep out of those danger zones. Dr. Stacy gave a great presentation yesterday. And there's a concept and an element in her presentation that I really wanted to point out and focus on, which was the way you word things can make all the difference. It's that wording. It's just those little phrases. And with all the material that Lori just announced and that Jeff told you about yesterday, there's a lot of stuff coming out, and we really need to hone in on the specific phrasings and that content and really implement it into our businesses today. Kind of out with the old, in with the new. And that's probably the best thing you can do in your business, is to utilize corporate resources that we're bringing forward to you. The way things are phrased for a reason. They've been thought about behind the scenes. We've gone through and said, well, how dangerous will this be or not? So utilize those, implement those into your businesses, teach them, to your teams, and help them forward. Now, we're all on this journey together. We've seen David outline the journey. We've seen the future that we're having, and we're here together. We're here to be your wingman, right? And we all carry that responsibility to make sure that we keep moving to the future, that we protect what we're building, that we protect what we're doing here. We're on the same team, and we all want the same thing. We want success. We want 1 billion homes and more, right? That technology needs to go to the world. There are so many lives it can touch. I'm one who's all for helping others. I know, I'm compliant. I somehow ended in the wrong career. But my grandfather was a naturopathic doctor, and he worked a lot with Indian reservations. And that's been something that's a generational thing. My brother is a chiropractor. So helping people is something that's been with me and my family for generations. And when I came to LIFEWAVE, I looked at the technology and said, wow, I understand the concept of that. How amazing is that you don't have to put in all kinds of things into your body and you get amazing results. And we know we get amazing results. But we just need to make sure that we keep those results simple and to the best of what we can say about them based off of the content that the company is providing us. The member success team is here to support you, help you shine, and I hope we all shine long into the future. So thank you for your time. It's been a pleasure.
Oh my gosh, you guys. Doesn't Dr. Edward look fabulous?